In life, there are telltale signs that people would immediately notice on you. And one thing is for sure, be it for good or bad, people would always have things to say about you. The good thing is that you have total control over this fact. All you need to do is be perceptive, identify your negative traits and shortcomings, and be open to positive criticism. You need to be honest with yourself on this process of change so you could effectively make the positive change that you desire. After all, lying to oneself is the most potent poison you could take. So make sure to focus more on yourself, especially on the little things. Welcome to Bare Luxury, where we show you the easiest path towards success and inspire you with stories and experiences of people who are already at the top. Today, we will be looking into low-class indicators that you might inadvertently have been doing. So make sure to avoid these with the end goal of eliminating it altogether. Before we start, we would like to tell you that this video is in no way discriminatory of the people who are born into these disadvantages. And if you find yourself to be one of these people, make sure to pay more attention to this video. Draw strength from it and use it as a driver for your journey out of your current predicament. Let's start with the most basic one, poor hygiene. Let's face it, no one would want to sit beside a person that wears wet dog-smelling clothes or reeks of body odor during cleaning hours. The simplest act of taking care of yourself is being considerate of others and taking care of them too. Trust us when we say that people appreciate well-groomed individuals they meet. Plus, when you practice proper hygiene, you'd seem to have an invisible aura that attracts people toward you. Inappropriate or shabby clothing. Now here's another thing that automatically gets the low-class card. Wearing inappropriate clothing. Even if you have proper hygiene, if you don't know how to dress yourself properly, you'd find yourself in a very bad situation real quick. You can't wear your house clothes to a company meeting as it screams disrespect to the effort of others around you. You can't wear revealing clothes to church because, let's face it, if God is real, He's seen everything, making wearing revealing clothes at His house a nonsensical thing to do. And our last example is that you can't wear orange on a jail visit. You might just get locked up yourself. Okay, that last one is an old joke, but you get the point. Now, talking about prison, this next one could definitely land you a spot inside. Lying and being deceitful. Sure, we've all lied before, but what sets some people apart is their chronic lying, which turns to deceitfulness and sometimes malice. When left unchecked, they become parasites that slowly eat away at the institutions they are in and even people around them. Their main objective is to live life as easy as they could, weaving their way toward lies. Unfortunately, this sometimes leads them to situations where they're unable to stop and they themselves get trapped by their own lies. And that just screams low class. Neglect of responsibility. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Neglecting one's responsibilities is a clear indicator that you can't perform well in any job or environment you'll find yourself in. That is why people often associate others that neglect their responsibilities as low class. Because these types of people don't really give themselves a chance to grow, effectively cutting their paths to success. Neglecting your responsibilities often leads to more degenerative traits, which leads us to our next low-class indicator, being uneducated, having poor speech patterns, and being disrespectful. Neglecting your responsibilities oftentimes leads to these degenerative traits and habits. How, you might ask? Well, to start, to be educated means tackling a ton of responsibilities. You have to be consistent in your drive to learn new things, even when you don't feel like it. You need to push yourself to become a better you, even if it means taking the littlest of steps. And if you ask us, it's one of the traits that sets successful people apart from the low-class ones. Being uneducated also branches out to different sets of traits, habits, and problems that get you stuck at the bottom of the societal class structure. Because of your lack of discipline and drive to learn new things, you lack the necessary knowledge and skills that is required for a decent human being to survive in the current structure of society. You develop poor speech patterns, which oftentimes lead to misunderstanding. You also lack boundaries, as uneducated people always tend to be self-centered, thinking of themselves as the center of the universe, though equipped with the knowledge and skill set of a fifth grader. You become disrespectful of others, be it disregarding the importance of their time to just interrupting them when they're speaking. These little things add up to you being tagged as a low-class individual. Because of your lack of value, you also tend to invade others' spaces and just become an overall inconvenience to people around you. You might be talking loudly on the phone during your bus rides, bringing your cheap Bluetooth speaker in public, and just blast incomprehensible music in coffee shops, even littering and not bothering to be decent enough to follow through your leftovers after eating. All of these, of course, scream low class. What's worse is that these sets of tendencies and traits sometimes evolve into something much worse: prying into the lives of others. Notwithstanding it being an appalling act, prying to the lives of others around you is one of the most prevalent signs that you are of low class. That is because successful people spend their time on themselves instead. They treat time as a very limited resource that they could only invest to help them grow and reach success more efficiently. That kind of vision is of course non-existent if you are low class. So the next time you have the urge to look into the business of others around you more than you are warranted to, ask yourself this: will spending time looking into others' businesses or lives be beneficial to my self-growth? If not, then stop in your tracks and look for something else that will. And you have to be very careful of the previous low-class indicator we just mentioned, because if left unchecked, you might even acquire the habit of mocking other people. This one not only gets you the low-class card, it automatically shuts other people's doors from you altogether. Humanity's goal is to help each other grow and reach the frontier of evolution. If you can't stop prying into the businesses of others around you and mock them for the little things that they try to do to reach their goals, then you turn into a scum that everyone else will loathe. And even if you are fairly successful, if you mock others of their efforts, then it'll very quickly pull you down, lower than the people you are mocking. So spend your time pushing others around you up, not down, and you'll find that you push yourself farther up in the process as well, bragging about your life's less than ideal events. Everyone might have been guilty of this at some point in their lives. You might have been too drunk at a party, accidentally hit a deer on the road and left it to die, missing deadlines and making up very convincing alibis to save yourself from any reprimand, breaking event rules to get yourself in for free concerts, etc. All these might be a good story to tell. You might even feel smart telling them to your peers or new acquaintances, but all this really does is give them a glimpse of your true character and social status of low class. So stop bragging about these unsavory things, be more attentive to the words that are coming out of your mouth, and you'll be surprised to see yourself avoid doing all these negative things altogether. Now that we're nearing the end of our video, looking back, have you been guilty of any of the aforementioned traits and indicators of a low-class individual? What were the things you did to overcome and eliminate them altogether? Let us know in the comment section below, and maybe your comment could help someone else rise from the current situation they're in today. Living in a rundown or overcrowded living space. The state of your living space speaks volumes on how you actually live your life. Even if you don't interact with people much, at the first glance of your untidy home, workspace, or even car could give them hints of how low class you are. That is because being organized is one of the traits successful people have and leverage. They incorporate the values and practices they acquired from their homes and interject it into everything they do. If you can't even tidy up your room, what makes you think you could survive in the chaos of the world outside? Lastly, engaging in illegal behavior and activities. Drugs, theft, fraud, etc. All these are the works of uneducated, low-class individuals that are so far down, they literally don't even have any idea how to pull themselves out of the cesspool they've dug themselves into. So, they make it their life's mission to pull others down as well. And yes, these are the quote-unquote successful people who still commit crime. But can you really call them successful when they got to where they are by hurting and taking advantage of others? We don't think so. One thing you should understand is that real success could only be reached by helping others up. That's why success doesn't really mean you have to be rich. There are normal people living normal lives, walking among us, who help save lives without posting on social media for the world to see. And in our opinion, they go home the happiest as their joy is not tainted with ego and everything else that comes along with it. May this video be a reminder for you to reach for your own success and not compare yourselves to others. But at the very least, don't go around with a note on your back saying, "I'm low class." Be more attentive of your words and actions. That's all. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of the awesome videos we had prepared just for you.